Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, once again, welcome to Fulton Street Beats. That's right, where we like to take the boring and the mundane and roll it up into an ugly ball and make some rock and roll out of it. How are you doing this evening? My name is Mr. Mike, and I hope you are doing well. If you're new here, thanks for dropping by. We always appreciate it. Please don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe. And if you're not new here, welcome back. It's good to see you again. And a lot of you have been following my progression with my journey into electronic drums. And it's a fun journey. It's fun when you enjoy something and you're learning something along the way, and I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot that things that you hear aren't necessarily true, at least not all the time. And I can give you some examples. I'm learning that, well, electronic kits, while their modules are great, most of the electronic kits themselves, the craftsmanship of the shell work, is not so hot, not so good, subpar, if you will. But there's a lot to be found in an electronic kit. There is so much that us acoustic drummers can do with an electronic kit. It can expand your horizons and make you a better drummer, and at the same time, really eliminate the need for a lot of things, especially when you're playing out and you got a sound guy and you can say, you know what, just plug me in, man. I got my own sound right here. You know what I mean? It makes life a lot easier when you know how you want to sound and you know how your band wants to sound with you backing them up. So real cool things you can do with electronic kits. However, the one big drawback of an electronic kit is, well, the fact that they look like electronic kits. Not all. Of course, we do have the high-end rolling kits. Then I say high-end, they're expensive. They're quite expensive. And the downfall is the shells still, I'm going to say it, please don't shoot me, are garbage. They have terrible bearing edges. They're not built very well, although the modules are good and they do give that acoustic feel and appearance. You're much better off doing it yourself and converting, in my opinion, my drum building experience, and I'm a drum builder, opinion, you're better off buying different shells that you want and doing your conversion with the module that you have purchased with whatever kit you want. In my case, it was the V8306 and the TD17 module came with that. And I'm selling off all the V8306 components and upgrading. In my opinion, it's an upgrade. And as you can see, we got some triggers behind me on the wall. One is a kick drum trigger and another one is a dual stage trigger that I just stuck on my Yamaha Stage Custom Tom and was doing some experimenting because I like to experiment. I like these triggers. I like that I can pull them off and on and have hybrid kits, a simple head swap, and we'll get to that in a second, and have a hybrid kit. Now, listen, I'm running a Mapex 20-inch drum with a kick drum trigger, the Roland kick drum trigger, RT30. And I'm using the regular Mylar head on it. I put some dampening in the drum. I'm running the head. I'm getting amazing results, response, and reaction from it. I will not go with a mesh head on the bass on the kick drum. Now, I think that's due to the fact of the size of a kick drum head. I think a small tom really overreacts. And as a matter of fact, I can give you an example. This tom that I just mounted, this trigger that came today. I got another one coming. It's supposed to be here today. It's coming tomorrow for the snare. I'm digressing. I tested it with the factory Mylar head. While it does work, there is issues. Are they huge issues? No, but they're there. Number one issue is it's loud. And you're getting your regular resonance from your drum. Number two is your rim shots are extremely loud for the triggering through the TD17 module. You can get some false triggers with the Mylar, especially on the 10. Like I said, the bigger tom you go, the less likely it is to false trigger, but the smaller they trigger more because you got that closer vibrational pattern. Closer. So what I have done, it left me no other choice. And of course, I wanted to test the Mylar. Yes, it can be done. And if you're on a budget, you can get by. But just so you know, it's going to be loud. And even if you're wearing isolations, you're going to hear it. You know what I mean? It's going to throw off your playing a little bit from what you're hearing through your headphones and what you're hearing on the outside, even with isolations, because we all know drums are loud. So you're definitely best off getting some mesh heads. And of course, the V-drum heads are really good. So what I did is I took my 10-inch tom that was with my V-drum kit head, and I mounted it simply on the Stage Custom, Yamaha Stage Custom. Problem solved, easy peasy, nice and quiet, good reaction, getting the rim shots, no false triggering, no nothing. Really cool, works fantastic. I am excited, and I get to play on my tom like Tonto. I like it. But however, I always experiment. Whether I'm going to use it or not, I want to know what works and what doesn't. I want to bring you guys what works and what doesn't. Now, do you want to see a weird setup? Check this out. I'm sure you all guys all recognize this as the PDA 100. And that's a 10-inch tom. Okay. Right? And you got the trigger in the bottom. Now, what's nice about this, guys, is if you want to, and I've already experimented with this if you go back a few episodes, you can use this trigger plate and drop it in your 10-inch tom and run it. Boom. Bam. No need for an external trigger. You can run this, even though they cut the bearing edges differently on these toms backwards. They have a backwards cut bearing edge. Your bearing edge, your 45's cut in more than it is out. It's a reverse cut that you get it the opposite way on a traditional acoustic kit. But it still works. Just make sure you tension everything, well, like you should be anyhow, in a crisscross star pattern with equal tension, not over-tightening one side before the other, so your plastic trigger plate can press down equally. But if you do that, you got it. You got it going on. It's cool, right? Works. Just so you know out there, it works. And I'm going to be selling this trigger plate and tom, so I just kind of robbed the head off of it. But I said, hey, while I'm robbing the head off of this nice Roland tom, let's put the Mylar head on this. Look at this. We got a Remo Mylar head on this tom. And it's loud, of course, because it's a Mylar head. It's got response, right? It's not a short frequency. Well, anyhow, I wanted to try it as a tom, so I plugged it in and tried it. It works really well. Then I said, well, let's try it as a snare. Now, I want you to remind you guys that the snare that comes with a VAD 306 has a triple cone setup. Okay? So it's supposed to eliminate the hot spots, if you will. Well, let me tell you. This is just a single trigger right here. And I played this as a snare. And while, yes, it's loud on the outside, man, did this thing react good. Must be the plate setup and just running. Well, it's not a dual zone trigger, so it's just a trigger. But yet it responds almost like a dual zone. Maybe it is a dual zone, and I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe it is, but I don't believe it is. But anyhow, my point is, this made a better snare than the snare with the 3 zones, with the 3 pads. It responded better and sounded better. Really did. So, lesson to be learned. There's always exceptions to rules. While this didn't work so hot on the tom over here with a external trigger, with an internal plate trigger and a Mylar head, it sounds and records really good. Only downside is it is a bit loud. Not as loud as if you didn't have a plate behind it, but still nonetheless loud. And not as loud as if you had a metal hoop with no rubber on. But just so you know, if you're not getting the response out of your snare drum that you want, that has a trigger floor, trigger plate, try a Mylar head on it. See what you got. You might be surprised. Now you might have to do some fine tuning in your module. In my case, I didn't. I just went bam, 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 bam. And it might freak you out a little bit because it's louder than what you're used to. So make sure you got some good isolations. But it's nowhere near as loud as that tom, that 10-inch tom that has a resonant side head, and it was just a straight shot through bang. So it works. So I'm gonna temporarily, I say temporarily, for a few days, be using this as a main snare. This little 10-inch is going to be a main snare to do some recording because it records that nice. Until I can get the snare that I want, because there's a few different options. Dixon has a snare out that I'm trying to get, but I'm really not fond of the seller. And then I kind of want something that's a limited edition, because when I buy drums, I want them to be kind of limited, so at least I can get my money back out of them later when I'm ready to move on. So you guys will be the first to see whatever custom snare that I come up with. So anyhow, and it's really cool that you can see through it, right? Why don't I put some LEDs in there, man, and make it really, really, really disco duck? Nah, that's not a good idea. Let's not do that. But anyhow, it works. So I was the guinea pig. I tested it. It works in my scenario and in my case. Will it work the same if you did it on a 12 or 13? I don't know. But on the 10, it works. In other news, this just in. Wicked Nation Custom Drums, Baker Percussion, or otherwise known as Fulton Street Beats, has some items for sale on Reverb. Guys haven't been to Reverb? Check them out. I got some things from the old kit. I say old kit, the new kit, but the old kit to me, the VAD 306. I got a couple items on there for sale. I've sold most of everything, bass, drum, few toms, parts, things like that. Have a couple things that are on there right now. If you guys are interested and you're looking for parts for your kit, I have some things. I took the 10-inch tom off that I just showed you because I'm going to use it because I needed the head, and I just kind of want some spare parts kicking around. So I'm going to keep that one. But the snare, the VAD 306 snare, the, The PDA 12LS, VAD 306 snare, is for sale on there right now. Beautiful snare. There is a link to a video of that snare where you can see it up close in 4K. So you can see what minute little scratches may be on it or anything like that. And I'll tell you, all the scratches that are on that drum, the little micro scratches, were like that when it came out of the box brand new. No damage was ever done by us here at Fulton Street Beats. So you can check that out. That is for sale for a whooping $150 and a few bucks to ship it. Super deal to somebody who needs a triple zone snare drum with no hot spots. And it does work good. It is a good snare. I was tempted to keep it just for the drum head and the triggers, but I did not. I figured somebody out there might be wanting to get into electronic drums, and it's a good, inexpensive way to get a snare if they're piecing something together. So check that out. Now, something that I'm not going to take a beating on is these. These Roland tom mounts. I got 2 of them. They're selling as a pair right now. I got them listed also on Reverb. And of course, they're like brand new. They're very heavy duty. They're official Roland tom mounts, but they'll work with a variety of different toms. As a matter of fact, I'm using a Yamaha Stage Custom with the other one that's over here, my third one. And I'm not going to be using these because I'm doing a 1-up and a 2-down setup when I'm done here. I'm going to have one high tom mount, and then I'm going to have 2 floor toms when I'm done, and of course my snare. But 1-up, 2-down. So I'm not going to be using these. You can mount your, cowbell, whatever you want on here. Hell, you can mount a beer holder on here. Or for some of us, it could be a Jack and Coke holder. But anyhow, these are impossible to find. They're impossible to find. You just don't see them because people don't part with them. But I got them on there for, I think it's around $100 for the pair on there. So, which is a deal because you're not going to find them, and they are heavy duty, very well chromed. They do not move. They're so heavy duty, you could literally mount a floor tom on one of these and use it as a rack tom. That's how heavy duty they are, provided you have a cymbal stand, because that's what this mounts on here through here. If you have a cymbal stand that is stout enough to do that. And fortunately, the V kits, do have cymbal stands that are stout enough to do that. So I think that's pretty cool. We got all this stuff going on. And now let's talk about something else. Now, what do we have? What do we have coming to the channel? And I know some of you just spit it out, Mike. We have a Les Paul build kit. That's right. A Les Paul build kit that I just paid the extremely high price of $90, maybe less. I don't know. Less, maybe. It's a build kit. Because the goal here is to build a guitar better using a kit to build it and finish it better than a guitar manufacturer that will rename. We'll keep. We won't name the name of the guitar manufacturer. I got one in mind. Some of you already know. We're going to see if Baker Percussion, Wicked Nation Custom Drums, Fulton Street Beats to you guys, can build a guitar, a custom guitar, from a kit and surpass the quality of a major brand. Can I do it? I don't know. I'm not a guitar builder. I can set one up, but I'm not a guitar builder. But we're going to see. And maybe the kit's shit. Maybe I'm going to have to improvise and start all over. Maybe I'll have to cut my own body. I don't know. We'll see. All I know, this thing doesn't even come drilled out for the saddle or the bridge. I got to drill it out. So I'm probably going to have to do that without putting it in the drill press, because my drill press is set up for acoustic toms, and I'm not going to mess up what I got going on there, if you can catch what I'm throwing at you. So that means I'm going to freehand it. Maybe that's where that Jack and Coke handle will come in a little bit. Kind of mellow me out before I take the plunge into that maple top. Yes, it is a flame top, I believe. Flame top veneer with a maple body. What are we going to do for color? Hell, I don't know. I was thinking we go 1970s root beer gold sparkle metallic. Corvette summer style, for those of you who remember that movie. Maybe we'll do something, some gold flake in there. No, the Corvette wasn't that color. But you know what I'm talking about with the gold flake. It's very 70s. Maybe we'll do that on the back. I don't know. Or maybe, just maybe, I'll Betty Crocker the shit out of it and go in the kitchen and grab the wife's food coloring and go to town and do a burst. I don't know. Yes, you can do a burst with food coloring. I've done it with drums. It turns out amazing. You'd think it was made for it. You just have to be patient. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know yet. If you got any suggestions, go for it. Anything's better than the Magic School Bus that sits over here in the corner. And for those of you who don't know what that is, check out my other videos. The Magic School Bus. The Flying Magic School Bus. I'm sorry. That makes me laugh. I am so sorry. That's some funny stuff. I know. Thank you. Anyhow, I am glad you guys could join me on Fulton Street Beats, this whacked out episode of Fulton Street Beats tonight. It's you guys who make everything possible and make it worth it. And the algorithms are starting to catch up now. Things are starting to catch up My subscriptions are rising again now since the channel change. Are starting to rise, and I want to thank all the new viewers. And I think they got that algorithm thing kicking back again, and it makes me feel good to be talking to you because you guys make me who I am. I love each and every one of you. Don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe, and we'll be back with you very soon. Thanks for watching Fulton Street Beats, guys.
Somebody bring me my beer.